Welcome back to So Many Secrets. Last time, FBI Agent Strang learned that Elyana is likely an alien. Today, he investigates that claim. Here's Jerry with Chapter 15.
So Many Secrets, Chapter 15. Strang signed out for the car. It was a privilege he thoroughly enjoyed. You had to be extremely well connected to operate a car these days. He thought about videos he'd seen of the old times. What a thrill it would have been to be out on the open road. It was only 5 miles to the airport, so he didn't push it. He disconnected the self-drive and took control of the steering wheel. As anxious as he was for answers, the experience of tooling along streets populated almost entirely by buses and bicycles was not to be rushed. Strang parked outside the Quonset hut that served as the off-site delivery offices. He walked in and saw a tiny blonde woman checking a computer screen. When she looked up, he flashed his badge. "I have a few questions about the food drop last Saturday at the St. Joseph settlement." The woman stood and motioned him to the chair. "Why do you ask about that particular trip?" Her manner was guarded, and Strang wondered why. "Did anything unusual happen on last Saturday's trip?" "Why don't you tell me?" she asked. "We figured it had to be some government trick." "What do you mean trick? What happened?" She leaned forward in her chair and studied him. His insistence that he didn't know what had happened apparently unsettled her. There was a tightness around her mouth, an uncertainty in her eyes. Why was she afraid to talk? He watched her watch him. Finally, she leaned back in her chair and told him her man was attacked at the terminal and that the attacker took his place on the chopper. The attacker was wearing a protective suit and jumped out of the helicopter, but was captured by a man holding a gun. There was nothing in her account that pointed to the girl, but she clearly had omitted something she didn't want to talk about. He made a note to check on any missing protective suits. If nothing had been stolen, then the attacker was someone in an official position. "You thought this was some government trick? What do you mean?" She reached for her cup, but her hands shook, and she spilled coffee on her desk. She absently wiped it up with a tissue. "If you really don't know, then why are you here?" "My employee was assaulted. We delivered the food, and it was not our fault if whoever replaced him was captured." Beneath her protest of innocence, Strang realized this still wasn't why she was reluctant to talk. She was on safe legal ground. "Nothing I've heard finds your company at fault," he said, "but there's something you're not telling me, and that could make you liable." "Okay," she said. "What happened is just weird, and I don't know how to explain it if it wasn't the government. Something forced the helicopter down. My pilot fought for control, and the helicopter suddenly shot back up. Then it was forced back down again and vibrated so hard he thought it might break apart. That's when he saw whoever had attacked my man and stolen aboard had jumped. After that, there were no more problems with the helicopter. This was not a mechanical problem. We checked." Strang was too stunned to respond. He could think of no explanation other than it was the girl, and she must have controlled the helicopter. That kind of power was frightening. Alien power. There was no way he could let the woman know what had probably happened. Strang cleared his throat and found his voice. He stood and said, "No doubt it was momentarily mechanical malfunction your inspection missed. I have all the information I need. Thank you for your time." He fled the hut before she could ask him questions he couldn't answer. He didn't enjoy the ride back to his office because he kept thinking about the massive power it took to control a helicopter. He hoped some moron of the settlement hadn't harmed her before he had a chance to arrest and question her. It was definitely time to call Lambert, but Strang dreaded his response. Agent Strang put the phone on speaker and leaned back in his chair. It would be a while before Lambert stopped ranting and actually expected a response. Strang wished he could damp the visuals so he didn't have to look at the cruel mouth and fanatically bright eyes. Lambert bragged about his plan to conscript men outside the domes into military service. He congratulated himself on his foresight to increase the military considering this new threat from aliens. "Let them kill each other," Lambert said. Strang stroked his boss's ego and had no trouble convincing Lambert to authorize a raid on the St. Joseph settlement to capture the girl. He also got permission to interrogate the Andersons and take them to the settlement as bait.
Thanks, Jerry. This concludes our exploration of So Many Secrets. Next time we'll begin with my other science fiction book, The Amnesia Experiment, Who Will Survive? I hope you'll join us.